Alright, I'm going to be working on carving up this little turtle. Little turtle carving. Hey Karen. So okay, why does one hand have a glove but the other one doesn't? The other one doesn't need one because I'm not really putting a whole lot of pressure on this hand. This hand's just for guiding my tools as I carve them. As I carve, this one takes a lot of pressure as I'm using it for all the strength that is needed to carve away the wood. So it takes on a lot of abuse throughout the process. So I protect it. Do I get blisters? Not anymore. When I first started, I did a lot, but not anymore. Let's see. My right hand's stronger then? No, I mean, maybe. I am right-handed. Let's see. Have I ever had to start over on a piece? I mean, I've had stuff that didn't come out as I was thinking, but start over, no, it's rare that I'll start over on a piece. I just keep moving and make what I have work. What kind of wood is this? This is MDF. MDF. How do you come up with your ideas for me coming up with something original is the hard part. I mean this one's very basic. This one's just a turtle. But as far as like the other ideas, I just kind of sit in my sketchbook and draw what comes to me. And it's not. There's no secret. I don't know. I don't really take inspiration from a whole lot. I just kind of think of things that are funny to me. And my subject matter is pretty honed in at this point. It's pretty much animals, and I have probably about 10 animals that I repeat a lot, and then I look out and I go do other animals that aren't within that 10. And then I make them interact with each other and make them do fun things or eating things or let's see. What is MDF? MDF is medium density fiberboard. It's just a cheap building material. You can find it at like Home Depot and Lowe's. How often do you sharpen your chisels? They're not technically chisels. They're gouges, and I sharpen them as needed. Actually, the V gouge that I'm working with right now is a brand new one. I finally the one I had I'd been working with for probably 4 or 5 years, and I decided I needed to grab a new one because I had sharpened it so much, and it was very short. But I sharpen it, you know, as needed. I use mine a lot, so like once every other carving maybe. It's a board made of resins and sawdust. Yep, that sounds about right. It's just a composite material. It's very nice. It's sturdy. It's smooth. It carves great. Yeah, it is definitely a very unique process. Print making, relief print making. Have I used Sheena wood before? Yes, I have. I like it. I have a couple of carvings that I've done in Sheena. It's expensive. And it's not, I can't get it locally. I have to buy it online. So that's another hurdle for it. But I do like it. And I think I have like a piece of it around here floating around. I just have to find the right project to use it for. Hey Mark, let's see. Are you gluing, paper printing, or just draw it? I'm not quite sure that I understand the question. This is a carving that I'm going to be using to print things. I drew on it with a Sharpie. What part of the process is my favorite? I mean, I like carving a lot. It's like drawing for me. It's also relaxing. to sit and do. I think he means when you get the line work onto the piece, if you had glued a piece of paper to draw it by hand. No, so I draw it in my sketchbook, and then I use a digital projector to get the image up onto the board, and then I draw it out with a Sharpie, just so I can get the size right without too much hassle. What's the black paint? It's just spray paint. You could also use just like watered down acrylic, but I use spray paint. What's the hardest or most frustrating part? Uh, hmm. I think the hardest part of like any project is bringing it together at the end to closely be what you were looking to make at the beginning of starting it. So like if you had one idea in your mind when you started and then you're working to finish it and it's kind of evolving, is to rein in the changes and control the changes to make it as close to your original vision as possible, while still taking in the changes that are happening and keeping the good ones, leaving out the bad ones. Finishing work is probably the hardest in my experience. My friend wants to ask why you're such a nerd. It was more profane. I'm asking before she takes my phone. Oh goodness. I mean, I'm focused on one thing. In classes I've taken, we were instructed to cover the wood in shellac diluted with alcohol to help the tools glide better. Have you done this? I've done it. I don't find that helps the tools glide better. What I found is that it helps the tools from, it helps the wood from tearing more. And it just gives you a more resilient surface to work with. I like it okay. It depends. But I rarely do it. Yeah, this is not linoleum. This is MDF, medium density fiberboard. Where can you get a press? I got mine online from blick.com, but just Google just search what kind of press you would like. Do some research on the different brands. I have a Conrad. There's Tackic presses. Charles Brand. There's even like little like cheap presses like Dick Blick presses. So just Google what it depends on what you're looking for in a press too, what kind of press you want to get. I just have, like I said, I have a Conrad. I have a little Conrad press. Is there a reason I use this board instead of linoleum? The reason is because it's generally cheaper. It's definitely cheaper. But I'll use linoleum if the project would be better suited for linoleum. But generally, my default board is MDF. But if I'm working smaller, I'll use linoleum. Or if the print that I want to get has a certain look that only linoleum can give me, I'll use linoleum then too. So. How did you start off? Did you have any specific inspirations? So I have a degree in drawing, painting, and printmaking. So I started in school. And I definitely had inspirations of artists whose work that I like. I mean, one of my favorite relief artists is Sean Star Wars, and I've got a lot of his work in my house, and I've been fortunate enough to show with him last year in a show. But I also have inspirations outside of the printmaking world. And they're mostly modern people that you see on Instagram. Thank you. I should paint my work on a wall too. I don't get asked to do many murals. I think it's because many people just see me as a printmaker and not a painter, although I do paint. But I have an opportunity. I'm working on a project right now that I'm gonna have to use painting for it. So I have a little painting project coming up soon. that I'm excited to get started working on. So, but I used to do a lot of painting, just not much anymore. Yeah, just use whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you can afford, man. It doesn't have to all be like Sheena and Reeves BFK. Sometimes I use copy paper to print on. What school did I go to? I went to a local school here in Atlanta. Well, it's not in Atlanta, it's just north of Atlanta, but just to give you a regional area. Kennesaw State University. I got my degree in drawing, painting, and printmaking from there. It was a good little school. Well, it's not even a little school, it's a big school, but what is it? I think it's the second or third largest school in Georgia. I can't remember. I know it's not bigger than UGA, but I can't remember if it's bigger than Tech or not. It's pretty close if it's not. So it's a big school. Florida State, they have a, I'm sure they did. They have a print program over there. Are you in print or you just art, specifically general art? So you saw where someone did relief prints using a steamroller. Yeah, I've done that, definitely. Several times. I used to organize an event here in Atlanta with a arts organization that I work with, the Atlanta Printmaker Studio, where we annually, where we would do prints with steamrollers and stuff. So I am very familiar with that. I have done that. I have driven the steamroller. I have printed with the steamroller. I've carved a block for the steamroller. I carved my own steamroller block probably about 5 years ago now for a event down in Jacksonville, Florida. And I've still got the prints for those sitting behind me. So I've done that before. It's a good time. Excuse me. Will I paint this character on my live feed? Well, so this one's not going to be one of my carved and painted pieces. This one is I'm going to use this one for printing. I've got a couple ideas for this one. I don't want to quite say what I'm working on, what this one's for quite yet, in case I don't, end up using it for that. It's a little bit out of my normal range, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it, but I'm just not 100% sure. What do you think of the direction art is going right now with the popularization of graffiti artists like Banksy and Shepard Fairey? Well, they've been popular for a long time. That's fine. It's like street art and graffiti is just one way of getting your art seen by different people. There's good street artists and there's bad street artists. Just like anything. But it's just another forum. What do you think of it? So, Shepherd Ferry and Banksy are like the mainstream of the mainstream street artist guys. There's there's definitely people that your grandma wouldn't know about out there. And I don't know what Tallahassee's like. I've never been over that way. If you're still over in that area, but like here in Atlanta, we've got a lot of really solid street artists, and I think it's just a it just adds personality to your region, adds color to the world around you. I don't think there's anything but like street art is only positive in my opinion. Minus, and I'm not talking about the people who just like tag walls with their name. I'm talking about the actual artists that, instead of having their canvas being actual canvas, that they paint murals, or they do wheat pastes, or they put up mosaic. But as far as like taggers and stuff, I'm not much into that. I think that's easy. A lot of people do it, and they've been doing it for a long time, since like the 80s, and probably even before then. I know the 80s. But yeah, like there's definitely street artists that are not mainstream, and I'm not familiar with them like outside of Atlanta. But I know we've like our street artists, like there's Greg Mike does a lot of cool stuff. I like his work. It's cartoon based and like Saturday morning cartoons. There's an artist here. All he does is like little cats. Well, he does more than cats, but he's famous for his cats, called Catlanta. He's a really solid painter. But it just makes the area around you fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Unless it's the people that are just doing the same stuff over and over again. But there's people out there pushing the boundaries with street art. Definitely. And I had an Atlanta street artist on here earlier, and she may still be watching, Tiny Doors at ATL, who She has little public installations, and her work could probably be considered graffiti, but it doesn't look anything like what you would think graffiti looks like. So it's all good. It's just a different form, a different canvas, and definitely Banksy's and Shepard Fairey's are like the, you know, they're the Picasso and the Dali of the street art world right now. But there's a lot more underneath the surface. Have I ever tried printing your blocks out in the environment or around Atlanta, like street art printing? I've printed, you know, like at festivals and stuff. I've done a couple wheat paste things. I did a couple years back. I did a series of little prints on wood, little signs with messages that I posted all over Atlanta. Pictures of those might be still around. I did it as a Smile ATL. Hashtag Smile ATL. But I don't know if someone's taken that hashtag since then, or so you may have to dig to find them. I haven't looked it up in a while. But I put my stuff out in the street before. Definitely. I should do it more often, but it's hard to devote time to it when I don't get paid for it. I just do that kind of stuff for fun, which is nice, but as a full-time artist, I need to chase the dollar, which is not always the best way to spend your time, but it's necessary. So I'll do a street art project before the year's up, though. I'll do something. I'll try to think of something cool to do. I think I need to do that again. It was fun. I like doing it. I'll do something. Hold me accountable. That's why I said it. See, the problem when I put the signs out, I did 20. I think I did 21 signs all throughout Atlanta, and I put them on wooden stakes, and I just kind of hammered them into the ground like yard signs. And I mean, there's nothing I can do to stop this, but within 24 hours, most of the signs were taken up and brought into people's houses. They were not left there for other people to enjoy. So I wasn't discouraged, but I thought they would last a little longer. I also put a sign up, and I drilled it into a tree with a special screw that you need to go buy a special drill bit for. And somebody took that down in like 2 or 3 hours after I put that one up. So, which I knew would happen, but I didn't know what happened in 2 or 3 hours. Just wish they'd stay a little longer. And I know it's not city officials taking them down. I know it's you know, people. Because city officials don't work that quick. Here in North Dakota, we did this poop bag art. We poop bag dispenser art project. When we decorated them, all we did was zip tie them, and it took less than a day for those to get stolen too. It is, yeah. You know, and it's, you know what's gonna happen, but it's just discouraging when it happens so quickly. You know, give me a day and a half. But they I guess taken quick, which is fine. Let's see. Trying to decide how I want to carve this. I think I'll just do it like this. Yeah. I was conflicted. On one hand, I was happy to see someone like the art, but also others would. Yeah. I hear you. So what I did when I did my Smile ATL project is I spent a whole day driving around and just putting these little mouse signs up, and they said like "Smile, someone loves you," or, you know, just nice positive messages. It's been done a million times, but I just did it my way. So and I put them all in different spots in Atlanta. I drove around, had them in my trunk, and when I saw a good spot, I would pull over and post it up. I think if I were to do it again, I would just do it differently. I think I might do it very concentrated in one area, whatever project I start to do, so that if one gets taken, there's like 30 left. So it's more of an impact, and maybe people will leave it alone for a little bit longer. So I've got 20 seconds remaining before it kicks me off. So I'm going to start a new live feed to finish it up. So 7-6. Thank you guys for watching. I'll leave that right there. Alright, I'm 1 hour into this little carving, and I'm starting the second hour now. So working on this little turtle carving. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm up to. Thanks for stopping in and watching as I carve this little guy out. Working on the little spirals on his back. I'm being intentionally crude when I cut out these turtle shell areas. It's just kind of what I kind of think I want it to look like. Have the general idea of the spiral, but I like the tool marks kind of coming forward in these areas. Like this right here. I like that. I like those little marks left over. So I'm going to leave. one last turtle shell to do, and then I got to carve out the surrounding areas, the blank space. Hello, hello. All right, so the turtle carving's pretty much complete. Now I just got to carve out the outside, the outline. Yeah, go get ready for work, man. Where do you work? You'll be able to watch it later. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube later, like I do with a lot of my carving videos, and I'm also gonna have it on Instagram for the next 24 hours for people to check out. So don't worry, you'll be able to check it out later. That's yeah, student and produce manager. Yeah, that's a important societal role. What type of wood is this, or whatever you're using? It's MDF, medium density fiberboard. cleaning up the edges now, so it prints the way I want it to print every time. This is the boring stuff that has to be done. It's the prep work. I'm done. Let's see. This way and then this way. So I am done. Finished, finished, finished. Tilt them up a little bit so you get a straighter shot. So you gotta go down this way. Yep. Any advice for artists trying to make a living? Man, just keep working. There's no secret. I mean, I've been doing this. I've been graduated from college, doing this full time for 7 years, and I mean, you just gotta have your foot in like 12 different doors at all times. I do a ton of different things. Like, you see my Instagram side, where I like sell work online and stuff, but I also sell some work in festivals. I do gallery shows, and then I draw at events. I do freelance work, which I don't really show a whole lot of. I do commission work, which I share some, but not all. You gotta be able to do everything. I do commission T-shirt designs. I do, you know, a lot of different things. You got to be able to just adapt to it and say yes when people ask you, "Can you do this?" You say yes, and then you figure it out how to do it. But you can't just do one thing. I wish I could, but you can't. You have to do a million different things. What kind of wood do I use? I use media density fiberboard MDF. So, all right, guys, I am finished. So I'm going to end this video and log off. So I'll check you guys out later. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.